a certain ring was busted. There were bandits who were actually good at kidnapping, and of course, what they do is to collect ransom from unsuspecting Nigerians who actually, fall prey. But then we discovered in that particular society there was someone who was actually making sure their operations were successful. And of course, that person belongs to that society. We'll be right back, and of course, we'll talk at length about it.
Going deeply into fundamental human rights. The fundamental human rights contained in the Constitution of Nigeria are the rights. The first of it is the right to life, and of course,
well, it might sound funny to some people, but then right to life, it means you have a right to live as a Nigerian. So no one has the right to kill you. So if it unfortunately happens that way, that person has to be brought to a book, and that's exactly why there is, for every crime committed, there is always the rule of law that actually takes care of that.
And I think in the right to life too, it also entails the fact that you don't have the right to take your own life.
Of course, yes. There's if at all there is a case of suicide, you are liable to be sentenced somehow. Even the dead can be sentenced.
Of course, you are even guilty.
Yes, you are guilty of murdering yourself. Let's put it that way. Just for you to understand, you are guilty of murdering yourself if you commit suicide. So it means you have actually taken a life, and anyone that takes a life has to be sentenced by the government.
So in short, like we mentioned, the right to life. So you have the right to live and to live well. And the second one is the right to dignity of human person. So basically,
I can see you are interested in that because the way you stressed it. Let's go.
Because basically this means that every Nigerian has a right not to be subjected to torture or inhuman, degrading treatment. And unfortunately, I think we see this in our society, even among our security agencies, because I think those that actually subject people to torture let's hold on before you go to that. Let's take it one step at a time. Before you even talk about the security agencies, there are so many places where people are being subjected to torture, to servitude, and of course, if you have actually made anyone work against his or her wish, that means you have deprived that person of his or her right to dignity, because having subjected a person to servitude, it is actually an offense that has a jail term. If anyone has actually done that, or anyone in your society, in your environment, in your community, there's this saying that says I'm looking for housemaid, house help. People actually do that a lot. But then I think for the last 10 years there has been this change of orientation about people not looking for housemaid again. They don't call it housemaid anymore. They call it house help. So you are no longer a maid. Yeah, in a way you are looking for help, and that person that can actually provide it is that the certain person you are recruiting to do it for you. Okay, I think that is even better than calling the person a maid. It's a way of restructuring and repackaging.
Calling a person a maid, I think the world has gone beyond that part. Calling a person a maid is as good as limiting and of course degrading such person. This is 2021, and I think we should be thinking a different direction. In the early 90s, when you get to places where people actually sell food, restaurants, you see so many people struggling to make ends meet, and what they do there, they call them omodo. Let me just put it that way. That's what the Yoruba call it.
Right? Local language.
But then you when you look at the way they are being treated, how much they are paid, and
it's quite ridiculous.
Quite ridiculous, and you begin to think, if you have actually paid such person that amount of money, how does that kind of person want to survive?
How do you want such a person to live to live well?
And I begin to wonder, this person you are talking about is actually human like yourself. So, if you happen to be in such person's shoes, would you have actually been able to survive with the little you are paying?
So, in a nutshell, we're saying the right to dignity of human person is that no person shall be held in slavery or servitude.
And of course, to buttress your points, as you were saying earlier, talking about right to dignity, sometimes when our security agencies want facts from you at all cost, they can even make you say nonsense when you don't have to say anything. You sometimes when you are subjected to torture,
serious torture,
honestly, in human treatment, you begin to say things that are not even happening to you. Sometimes they call it confession under duress.
And that is to say, human right too is not sacrosanct.
It is not. As long as, I think we said that last week, if we all have rights, yes, but then it is not sacrosanct. Reason being that if you have actually been caught to have actually committed an offense, and confession is not coming from you, but then you have been caught red-handed that you have actually
and you are not speaking up.
You are not speaking up. Then there is a certain way our people will actually get that information out of you, whether you like it or not.
So that means of torture, voluntarily or whatever.
So whether you like it or not, you have fundamental human rights, but it is not sacrosanct. It is subjected to change from time to time. So according to the rule of law in Nigeria, let's just put it that way, it is not sacrosanct.
So we go to the third, and that is the right to personal liberty. Samson, what do you have to say to that?
Well, I think basically so many people have different sentiments towards this particular topic, but then I think as humans we should also understand the fact that in Nigeria there are so many rights that people actually trample upon, and this is one of them. Right to personal liberty. You don't sometimes understand what is going on, but then you just have to, find a way. Securing a person, no one shall be subjected to arbitrary arrest or detention. I was talking to someone yesterday that when a police officer actually accosts you on the road and they want to search your vehicle, you have every right to tell that police officer. You have every right to ask for a warrant. That is one. Two, and if it is to be checked without a warrant, you have every right to search the police officer before he searches your car.
And is that actually true in our
society? But then the constitution allows that fact. But then it might not be practicable in this kind of environment. But then people should know that as long as you are a Nigerian, you can actually ask for that. There was a video making the rounds, I think about 3 days ago. A white woman was in a car, and of course, he's a black lover who happens to be a Nigerian. They were together in a car. The guy was driving, but unfortunately, the police actually stopped them, and what they were asking is, "Where is your paper?" They were asking the white woman where her paper is. But why are you asking for paper when you are not even, you don't work with the immigration or the custom service? I don't understand why they are doing that. But then, eventually, they were asking for the documents of the vehicle. The guy presented them. Unfortunately for the police officers, the documents were complete. Then it was like, you have to follow us to our station. And the guy was asking, why do I need to follow you to the station? He was saying, okay, we are going to search your vehicle. The guy was saying, if you want to search my vehicle, I will search you first. And you have no right to actually manhandle me. But then while he was doing that, he was making a live video, so everyone will be able to have access to what exactly is happening. And he was making sure everyone knows exactly where the checkpoint is
and the location
and what exactly is happening. So sometimes Nigerian police officers are actually doing excellently well, but then they overdo things. It's normal. It's a thing they know that if they want to search a vehicle without a warrant, such person has every right to actually search them before they search him. But then it became an issue when they could not provide a search warrant, and then they were dragged it on and on. Eventually, they had to tell the guy to go because they saw.
They actually knew his rights.
They saw what he knew what he was doing. They know he knows his rights, and eventually they lost out. What they were driving at is if they actually find a way to search his vehicle, probably they are going to find something. and of course find a way to actually milk him. We have seen situations in the last 2 months. We have seen situations where police officers are actually, disbanded. They have been sent packing from the police force because of, their shameless acts.
Of course, and it's becoming alarming.
Yeah, I think the current Inspector General of Police is doing everything he can to make sure, we bring sanity back into the system.
So, in a nutshell, we're saying no one shall be deprived of his liberty except on such grounds in accordance with such procedure as are established by the law. So if you are to be searched, you have the right to ask for a search warrant, and probably your house is to be searched, your vehicle documents are to be searched, you have the right to a search warrant. You don't just have to follow around in the name of being a good citizen. So we're treating this today for you to know that which is your right, and also to know that which you need to move along with. Thank God they actually had the documents of the car.
Of course,
a lot of people
complete.
Drive around the streets without no documents in their vehicles.
Talking about yourself,
Samson, don't go there.
But then we have so many people doing that. I can authoritatively say, and some Peter is in the building and he does not have any documents whatsoever. So, and he drives around, and he has been finding a way to actually get past the law enforcement agencies. But then one day he might meet his Waterloo anyway.
So this is to say that there is no excuse for driving around. The fact that you have the right to your liberty does not excuse you from doing that which is right.
I actually wanted to say that as much as you have a right, as much as it has been provided in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria that you have access to certain rights, you have to understand the fact that you have to pay your dues too. As a citizen of a country, as a citizen of a particular state, we have different laws for different states, and of course you have different laws for different local governments. So as soon as you step out of your local government, you step out of your comfort zone, be prepared that the constitution in each of the local governments you are stepping into might be different to what you actually know before.
And
of
that's
course,
actually
for that,
true.
Yeah,
when you are traveling from one state
to the other, you have to understand
prepared.
the fact that there are rules.
Yes.
Last week I was talking to a person who actually sells food items with a vehicle. What that happens to be a space wagon. He was telling me he left Oluyole local government where he had their waste bin, had all the necessary documents, and on getting to Ibadan Southwest, they were saying
it was asked for something else.
We don't know anything that has to do with documents from Oluyole local government. All you have to do right now is to get what is ours here. It took an intervention from a superior officer that actually said, okay, let him go. But then,
Samson, do you think that is actually right?
It is not, because but then I think they were trying to avoid duplication. As much as he already had documents, the same documents from a different local government, duplicating it wouldn't be necessary unless you are leaving your state. You understand? But then I think we need to believe and understand the fact that at every point in time we need to know that we don't need to jump the rules. We have to follow them strictly and adhere to them. So that's just it. Though they actually passed, they boycotted things, they cut corners, but eventually he was able to move past them. But what tells you the next time he's passing through that road, he's still not going to face the same problem?
But I think then our government should, as much as they could, make it very simple. And the fact that you are moving from a local government to another should not be that challenging.
Of course, yes.
Of course, you are still in the same state. If different thing will be required of you in another state.
In another state.
But then it should not be in your own state and moving from
it happened to me at the time where I was asked, do you know Lagos State actually have their own driver's license? Yes, they do.
I'm hearing this.
So if you are to drive,
aside from
yes, they do. Aside from the national driver's license, they have theirs too. So if you are to drive in Lagos State, you are a constant. If you drive within Lagos State, you need to get that.
Or you live in Lagos State.
Yes, somehow.
If you live in Lagos State,
and you drive in Lagos State.
Okay,
because you might live in Lagos State. You might live in Lagos State and might not actually have a reason to drive. But then if you drive in Lagos State and you have, any reason to meet these so-called last mile people, then you might just have to, subject yourself to the rules of Lagos State.
So that is to tell you that know what is
applicable
in each state, local government you are visiting, and adhere strictly to
to it. So we go to the next one, and that is the right to fair hearing. And of course, I like to bring two together, and the right to private and family life. So what do you have to say to this, Samson?
Well, I think when we talk about right to fair hearing, there are so many people suffering from that in Nigeria as we speak, because at the point, I think that was 2017, I went on a visit to one of the prisons in Nigeria, which I wouldn't want to mention. There are so many people who are there that they have been awaiting trial for 10, 15 years. And some of them, even if they are found guilty of that particular offense they have been said to have committed, it might just be 2-3 years jail time.
And they've actually been there for years.
And the case has not been attended to for years. So it tells you so many people's rights have been trampled upon, especially by the epileptic system we have in our justice system. So I am of the opinion that if nothing is done about the situation of things, I think it will be difficult for us to move forward from there. The justice system in Nigeria, for me, is rotten, and it needs thorough flushing. And
that's because when you are dealing with a particular set of people, what you experience is different from what you experience when you're dealing with the high class, in the nation, the politicians and the likes. You see, the treatment is, of course, very different from when you're dealing with a commoner. Okay, like in the case of Baba Jesha. For some people, they think the journalists shouldn't have actually come in at that time to actually question him, because his case had actually not been
presented to the court or the police at the point.
At that point. But this wouldn't have been done to so-called senior citizens. I mean the politicians. This wouldn't have been done to them, but because they just see you as a commoner, and everybody will just rush to you, want to get information from you, even at all costs. So you have the right to fair hearing regardless of your social status, yes, or your financial status.
Okay, talking about that, fair hearing or no fair hearing, I think there are ways you can go about it. We need to do some sort of reorientation for our people. They need to understand the fact that jungle justice is not the way forward. And of course, taking the law into your own hands is actually wrong under the rule of law, and you might end up in jail if you do that yourself. As much as you are hurt by whatever has happened to you, if you take the law into your own hands, you eventually be blamed for it.
And you actually know that mentioning jungle justice actually got me, because in our society we see that is actually the norms. You see, in the case of an accident, before you know it, people will just jump in and react. They don't even want to know the cause of the accident. They don't want to know who is at fault. They just jump into action, and whoever is involved would be brutally beaten, sometimes even killed. So we think every citizen of Nigeria has a right to fair hearing. No room, no excuse for jungle
people actually
justice.
Who actually suffer from that are the trailer or tanker drivers. Whenever there is an accident, people believe it is due to the recklessness of the driver. No one wants to know what exactly happened before the accident. There was a time a driver there was an accident at Molete Axis in Ibadan here. The driver discovered there was a woman who actually slipped into the front of the trailer, and of course he unfortunately crushed that woman. He knew they were coming for him, so he ran. But then nobody cared to know if it was the woman's mistake or it was the driver's mistake. But then we need to understand the fact that for every action we take, we are liable to answer for it. So each time you want to take an action, especially as a Nigerian, and you have rights, that you must remember that such rights that you have are not sacrosanct. And if you take any decision that might actually happen to haunt you in the long run, you should actually rethink what you are about to do. So jungle justice for me is not the best way. You should be able to report to the police. There are phone numbers of the police stations around you that has been distributed online. It has been posted in a lot of places. there are ways you can actually get across to the security apparatus in Nigeria for information or for protection. You can get across to the civil service, NSCDC. Of course, you can get across to Nigerian police, the DSS, the Nigerian military. They are all there to serve and protect Nigerians. So if you take the law into your own hands, then it might hurt you at the end of the day.
Of course, and you might actually find yourself where you actually never bargained for. A lot of people are in the prison today because they've actually been involved in jungle justice.
Jungle justice, yes.
And some are not even the perpetrator of this evil.
Of this evil.
But because they are caught in the web, they are caught in the company
Let
of
me
such
cite
people.
an instance for you. There was a scenario that happened in the eastern part of Nigeria, I think about 6 to 7 years ago, if not more. If you remember the case of Alu4, these university students, 4 of them, that were beaten and of course killed and burnt just because they thought they were thieves. Unfortunately, they were making videos while the whole incident was happening, and people that were actually watching, their faces actually showed in the video. They are still in jail as I speak. So
Imagine.
it means
Just for
watching, it means you have contributed in one way or the other.
Of
You have
course.
actually encouraged them.
Such acts.
Of course. So that's just it. So if you think, Shebi, I just want to watch, it is better you go and watch movies in your house than to watch things that will send you to jail.
And of course, that's to also say that you don't follow multitude to actually do that which is wrong.
Which is wrong.
The fact that people are running into action, they are moving to action, does not mean you should also move with them. If you are not sure of what is happening, you can just stay back and probably go home and watch something else.
All right, let's go get some coffee. We'll be right back.
More music at ninjaloaded.com.
It's welcome back, to Skywave Digest. This is a program that will bring to you on a weekly basis by Skywave Production. The executive producer of this show is Omawumi Oloyede. And of course, if you want to reach us, you can actually do that on Facebook. It is Skywave Production. On Instagram, you can also do that. Skywave Pro, Skywave Pro 32. Yes, you can on your Instagram just type Skywave and of course put 32 behind it. You will find us there. On YouTube, you can also find us there, Skywave Production. Yeah. Of course, you can do that on YouTube, and of course, you will be able to watch us live. As we are doing this, we are streaming live on YouTube, so you have no reason not to join us. Like and subscribe to that YouTube channel. Of course, you'll be getting more and more information as regards what exactly is happening in our society. Rachel, what else do we have to say to our people today? I think you are talking about rights. We have been talking about rights generally, but then we need to understand the fact that women have exclusive rights in the society. And of course, we'll be touching that. I will be explaining what you need to know to you.
So today we'll be talking about women's rights. And I'd like you to know that women's rights are rights and entitlement claimed for women and girls worldwide. They form the basis for the women's rights movement in the 19th century and the feminist movement during the 20th and the 21st centuries. In some countries, these rights are institutionalized or supported by law, local customs and behavior, whereas in others they are ignored and suppressed. And the question to you, Samson, do you think the human rights in Nigeria has been suppressed? Do you think it has been ignored? Or do you think it has actually been in use?
Well, to be sincere with you, I think in Nigeria we haven't really given much attention to women, and more should be done about it. When you look at situation of things, I think it is since I've been witnessing administrations in Nigeria, I think this is arguably one of the administrations that are giving more opportunities to women. And I think under good luck, Ebele Jonathan.
He actually did well, pushing
women forward to actually give them, saddle them with responsibilities that will actually make them think, more. But then, when you look at what we're having right now, I think it's a way we just have to sit up, because initially, women don't actually do they don't really vote. They believe their responsibility is to stay at home, let our men go out there and do what it is necessary. But I need this wake-up call has to come out to women generally. You have every right to do what a man can do in the society.
Of course, and
you can also lead the society. So it is not your job to take the back seat or find yourself in the kitchen doing what is not necessary, or the other room, as they always say it.
And do you also know that, to me, I believe as the human right also include that the human has a right to a body integrity and autonomy. That is to say, I have a right to my body and I can actually do as I please with my body. That is to say that my body is not for the man, it's not the property of a man. And also it also entails that the woman should be free from sexual violence against what we are seeing in our society. And
I think I know where you are driving at, but then before you do that, every man has his or her own rights. As much as a woman cannot trample on your own rights, you should not trample on hers.
You should respect
us too. Every woman has the right to her body. Every woman has the right to say, this is whom I want to give my body to. And the word no means no. So if don't second guess, don't think for the woman. If she says
don't
dance around it. Like she can still say yes. No. If she says no, let her no be no. Because there is a systematic way of actually trampling on their rights by saying, let me talk her into it. You can hypnotizing a woman is actually a way of trampling on her rights too, because you have stylishly swayed her views, and of course you have actually done what is not necessary with her, and eventually she's not totally happy with it, because in the first place she never had interest. So if you find a way to dance around it, you have still committed an offense, whether you like it or not.
Whether you make attempts, whether it is
actual thing.
No, the grammar, whether it is by penetration or by.
Well, I didn't want to mention penetration in the first place, but then let's just be realistic and factual with our people. There is this indecent assault. If you actually touch a woman where it is not, you are not supposed to touch her without her consent, and if you tried to see, there are so many issues we need to be talking about, but then doing that with a minor is actually unreasonable.
It's actually out of it.
It's unreasonable.
Out of it,
no one should actually do that. One thing, I think we said that last week. One thing we need to understand is that people actually take advantage of the little ones because of the action and inactions of their parents, and of course their unavailability at some point in time. You just have to say, okay, Uncle Agbaja, please help me take care of my daughter until I get back.
And do you actually know
and Sister Tamedo, help me take care of my son until I get back. It is important for us to know that it is not only a woman or a lady or a girl that can be abused. Even a boy can be abused too. Remember the case of this young guy from this this major church in Nigeria that actually was abused by his own colleagues, and till now nothing has been done about it.
We never can say.
It is safe to say his rights have been actually trampled upon, and of course nothing will happen eventually, because with the situation of things, at the point the woman came out and say she's being threatened by some big wigs, saying she should keep short, and nothing has happened to his son. But she knew exactly how her son was.
Of course, because even the picture would actually
tell the difference,
that something has actually been wrong with the boy even before then. So quickly, because of our time, we'll have to rush down to the right to hold public office. Samson has mentioned that earlier, that a woman has the right to hold public office so far you are qualified and for the office, to enter legal contract, and of course to a religion. because a lot of people, even some religion, actually make us understand that a woman does not have a right.
They say it in Yoruba obìnrin ò lẹ́sìn. But then it is totally wrong.
It's wrong.
I know of a person who happens to be a Muslim. His wife is still today a Christian, and they never forced any of their children to belong to a particular religion. I know one of them that does not even, he does not pray as a Muslim, does not do anything as a Christian. It's just like that. And of course, there are some of them who actually believe, okay, let me be a Christian, and some are Muslims. So out of 5 of them, 2 actually happen to be Muslims, 2 are Christians, and the other one says, I just want to be floating. So that's a way to do things.
So you
cannot actually force your religion. So
because you think she does not have a right to religion. So this is to tell you men in the house, ladies watching, that you actually have rights.
Even the former governor of Lagos State, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, till today, Remi Tinubu is a pastor with one of the biggest churches in Nigeria. And of course, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, yes, a pastor, yes. Go and check her name, go and check her record. She's a pastor. And of course, Bola Ahmed Tinubu is still in Mecca right now, observing Lesser Hajj. So, whether you are a Christian or a Muslim or you are the Elesin Abalaye, all you have to do is to make sure you live your life in a way that you will lead by example, and you don't have any right whatsoever to actually to shove your religion down the throat of your children or that of your wife.
And do you know that because this right has actually been ignored in Nigeria, it has actually led to a lot of harms for us, and that is why we have gender inequality in our society. Because we've actually ignored the part of the women law who the part of the law who pay attention to the woman rights.
There are 2 major things that has divided us as citizens of Nigeria, and I think gender and of course religion yes. As they have done, the worst things to us.
A lot of harm to us.
Of course, when you look at what religion has actually caused to us, so many times you understand the fact that if a Christian has a business, he doesn't want to hire a Muslim. And of course, if a Muslim has a business, he doesn't want to hire Muslims. So I know of a place. I know of a place in the city of Ibadan where everyone working in that organization, they are basically Muslims. They are Afars. And of course, the women there, you see their niqab. It is full. So you, as a Christian, even when you want to find a job to that place, once you get in, you know you are in the wrong place. That's how he does his things. And of course, there are places where they believe if you are not a Christian,
you are not allowed
to work there. Even your name, even if you want to lie, your name will tell the truth about you.
And do you know the reason why so many people have actually been bearing names aside from their religion's name is because of this segregation amongst us. Because I know if I should tell you I'm Rachel, automatically you know I'm a Christian, and it can actually deny me of some opportunities in particular place. Like I would not say I'm Oluwafemi.
As the case is to you, I have my friends from Gombe State and Adamawa State where they actually bear Muslim names, but they are Christians. Abubakar Muhammad is a Christian. He practices Christianity. His generation, they have always been Christians, but because he's from the north, they have Muslim names, and of course, it has affected him in so many places because they actually believe he's a Muslim.
Of course, there's no way around it.
That's just it.
So with the name alone, we know where you belong.
Of course, and of course, there is this issue of lack of legal protection for women. They actually neglect them in such a way that there is a way we don't actually care for them legally. Sometimes when you talk about divorce, people will just think like, you want to divorce your husband, go and be managing because of your children. You know, that kind of mentality. And of course, it's a case you should have actually supported in all ramifications, so that such person will not lose her life in the long run. Even
our self-esteem, our respect, and of course, our dreams. A lot of women are wasting away because they are actually trapped to a marriage that is actually not working. But because of the fear of what people will say, they still remain in such marriage. And of course, I want to actually mention another thing about right to property. Do you know that in some parts of our country, a woman does not have a right to own a property? They will tell you that it's against the law.
It happens here, right here in this part of Nigeria, in this country. It is not against the law, but then there has been, somehow wired into our brains to think that if a woman is married, she has no business building houses.
She has no right to a property, even if she buys. She buys
in the name of the family,
of the husband. The name of the family. She buys in the name of her husband because it is believed it's a wrong perception, right?
Anyway, yes.
That she does not have a right to any property. So whatever she claims to own or to have worked for, it should be in the name
of the husband.
And
of course, talking about working and buying properties and saying it is for the husband, I think that notion should ask to be changed, because it actually affects so many people. They are resourceful to the extent that they can actually be a blessing to so many people. But then the notion that what would my people think has actually restricted them. It has actually caged them, that they have not been able to actually penetrate where they should penetrate. They have not been able to actually fulfill their dreams. And once their dreams are not fulfilled, there's no way they can actually, some people who are dependent on them can actually fulfill their own dreams too.
And
imagine if a woman that is industrious, and of course she has the opportunity of actually opening a business and of course employing people. The moment she has the thinking that if I establish this kind of business, what will my people say? Then those people who are meant to work in that particular company, they will suffer for it. So in one way or the other, it is biblical. You have a destiny helper. Of course, as you have a destiny helper, you are also a destiny helper to certain people. So we should not limit ourselves to the notion that this is what our tradition says. We have gone beyond that. This is 2021, for crying out loud. We need to think as people who are actually living in 2021.
So not in the 80s or 70s.
In the 80s or 70s. Yes.
So thanks for joining the show again. Today is Skywave Digest, and of course, I believe you've actually learned one or two things, and of course, unlearn something in the course of our discussion today. And of course, we say the human rights,
Before you go, Rachel, I think I want to talk about job segregation in our society, which has actually affected women. You understand the fact that most of the times only men are considered for promotions. Before a woman can be promoted to a certain position, she must have done, extra job.
She must have done the
so we need to change. We need to change their mindset. We should give women opportunities, let them grow, and then once they grow, we are growing directly or indirectly. Because if you don't have the necessary wherewithal to actually achieve certain things, if your wife achieves it, automatically the glory comes back to the family. So don't feel cheated. Don't feel underestimated. What other English should we use?
A woman is actually doing well.
Yes.
Threatened.
Don't feel threatened. That's the word.
Don't be threatened.
Thank you. God bless you.
Thanks again for joining the show today. Skywave Digest. I remain Rachel Oluwafemi Oladipupo.
Of course, we have been listening to Skywave Digest, of course, by Skywave Production. You have been listening to the voice of Balogun Samson, your official captain on radio. Of course, if you want to join, this particular show, you can actually do that on Facebook. It is Skywave Skywave Production. Search for that on Facebook. Like that page. Follow us. You begin to get time to time updates. And of course, you can do that on YouTube too. It is Skywave Production. Just go to Facebook, to YouTube, search for Skywave Production. You will see us there. Our logo is very, very simple for you to understand. Just follow that page. Follow us. No, you are not our village people, but follow us. Don't worry. Thank you so much for joining today's edition of Skywave Digest. Until next week, Thursday, same time, which is 1 to 2. You'll be 12 to 1. Yes, 12 to 1 Nigerian time. I was actually putting that of UK. I came back from UK not long ago. Yeah, you'll be meeting us next week. Until next week again, I say keep being good, keep being safe. My name is Balogun Samson once again. Bye for now.
Thanks for joining. See you again.
Ìkànnì tó dára la ó máa gbọ́, ìró tó dára tó dún tó ń búgbẹ̀mù Salt Radio, ìró ayọ̀ ló ń dún. Óyá 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 jẹ́ ká gbọ́ Salt Radio, óyá óyá.